Hi, this is Zach here with the Bulletin Board Heroes here at Zach's Traders Cafe for Tuesday, the 19th of August. And we're back from the brink after yesterday's test of that uptrend line there from June around 91.30. And looking for this market to zigzag up towards the top of that, well, what looks like a potentially a rising wedge, which obviously would be negative, but 93.30, the potential target there, hopefully by the by the end of next month, or hopefully sooner than that. On the downside, basically August support there at 90.27. The worst we're expecting on the downside. I suppose one could also suggest that the 50-day line there at 89.67 could be a target, but as we haven't been below that since the end of April, maybe that this market is able to head a little bit higher, even though it's unusual for a market to be that far away, that far above a rising 50-day line. This is really, really bullish stuff. Moving on to the DAX, and here still dancing with that July resistance line, and we sort of half broke it and then came back, etc., etc. 24,400, the area of that resistance line to be broken. We were assuming that once we had a clear break of that line, we would head up to the top of that rising trend channel from the spring of last year as high as 25,400 and do so by the end of next month. On the downside, the 50-day line, obviously just under 24,000. Obvious support, but probably the main support here is still 23,000 post-May support for this market. Had another RSI 50 rebound, or above RSI 50, little kink in that RSI trace, and so that is positive, as is the way that the 50-day line is now rising again after being relatively flat. So looking good, but obviously rather dead at the moment. The Dow is next, and here it's all about trying to clear the 45,000 level. Obviously, we've been fighting that level since the end of November. If we can make a proper go of it and actually have days above 45,000, we're looking for the top of that rising trend channel from May, 47,500 by the end of next month. On the downside, hoping that there will be nothing lower now than the 50-day line at just below 44,000. Onto the cryptos, and frustrating, I suppose, is one of the words you could apply here. Here we've got the market kind of in a no man's land below the floor of that channel from that support line there from April, and just slightly below the, well, actually just at the 50-day moving average, so 115,500. I'd like to see this market properly on the right side of that 50-day line and break through back through the 120,000 level by the end of the week. Ideally, we get up to the top of the channel there from March, as high as 132,000 by the end of next month. But there are provisos. We need to stay above the May peak, 112,000, and basically also stay on the right side of 100,000. It's interesting that the 200-day line is now above 100,000 for the first time. So ideally, if there are any rug pulls, they won't be below that particular level. It's also obvious, or you can see there, that the RSI is now well below the neutral 50 level, so that also needs to be corrected. So 117, 118, 119 really need to be seen quite quickly on this market. Onto Ethereum, which is still rebooting after all the massive hype that we had with this market last week. People saying it's the trade of the next 10 to 15 years. JP Morgan on it, $20,000 a target as well. So not a great performance given all that hype. And also you can see that we've got quite a significant bearish divergence. So high for August, much lower RSI trace there. So we can get away with a dip which stays on the right side of 4,000. I think that would be quite impressive. And that also hopefully would be then the cue for a rebound towards 4,000. Old resistance becoming new support. We still have the chance to we can get back above the 4,500 level. We can head up to 5,500 by the end of next month, which is the upper parallel of the resistance line, red one there from back in February. Onto gold, and here it's been a bit of a struggle as well, near the floor of that rising trend channel from back in April. The floor around 33.20, and above that we're looking for this market to head up to retest the April resistance line there, the red one currently around the 34.20 level. That has been quite a block on this on progress here. 334.20, looking for 3800 by the end of next month, but we need a quick break of that 34.20 level. On the downside, the 32.20 zone, the favored area if we have a rug pull of any significance. Moving on to the stocks, and starting off with Bezant, which is looking like it may be ready to hit that resistance line there. That's around 0.06. We're still looking for around 0.07.5, hopefully by the end of next month or even sooner. Ideally, we stay on the right side of 0.05. But the chart position here looking good, especially with that U-shaped rebound that we've had over the past month. On to Defence Holdings, which had a decent announcement today. Here you can see that it was decent enough for the shares to gap higher and head towards our near-term target there, 0.56 pence. And to do that, hopefully in the next couple of weeks, we've had basically a couple of RSI 50 rebounds. So it does look as though the shares are ready to revive their May rally. And in fact, the best case here would be that we would hit a line there up towards the 0.8 area by the end of next month. But at the moment, we're just going for 0.56, while we're above the broken resistance line there from June around 0.41. On to Empire Metals, where I rejigged the chart and made it rather simple because we've hit so many targets before. Rising trend channel there from back in March, and depending on exactly where the angle is, we're looking for 45 pence by the end of next month, while we're above recent broken resistance at 33 pence. So relatively simple setup now. We've had also multiple bounces for the RSI above neutral 50, even though we're now overbought. The other point to note is that yesterday we gapped up through resistance. That tends to be a very strong signal if the gap is held. Moving along to the situation at Ferexpo, where one would have thought that given the better noises that we're getting from Russia and Ukraine in terms of that, the talks there, or potential talks, I would have thought that Ferexpo would be rather higher than it is now, at least above 80 pence. But that is not the case so far. It could be an opportunity. We've had an RSI 50 rebound, got a V-shaped bull flag, as I call it, just looking for an end-of-day close through 60 pence to give us an initial target here up to 71 pence and the 200-day moving average. Ideally, now we stay on the right side of 50, whatever happens. It's been a rather rough ride for Goldstone Resources over the recent past. Just a hint here that the sell-off last week was a bit overdone. Looks like an exhaustion sell-off, if you can see, if you get my meaning here. So gapping down through the lows, but then tentatively rallying in recent days. The main point to note here, apart from the gap, is the way that we've got bullish divergence, so lower low for recent days for August, but higher RSI trace. So that might suggest that we can at least we've got enough gas in the tank to head up to fill that gap up to 0.52 in coming days, while we're above the mid-30s, so 0.35 probably on that. Next on the list is stock, which is a company which is in almost the opposite position to Goldstone. We had news that Stanley Druckenmiller is on the ticket here, having bought shares from Power Metal, which is obviously very nice of him. Here we've got the 50-day line there at 57 pence. Above that, we're looking for the top of that channel from back in spring of 2024, as high as 82 pence, and we're looking for that as soon as the end of next month. So let's see if that particular prediction works. RSI at 57, so we're in a good place for further gains. Mila is next, and here decent rebound after bouncing off the 200-day moving average. We've got the RSI back above 50, probably just waiting for an end-of-day close through the 50-day line to give us a potential retest of the best levels of June, maybe by the end of next month. Punchy call, but let's see if Mila is punchy enough to do it. On to OPG, and here you can see that we've got this sharp rising trend channel there, support above the 50-day line as well. So it's a leading indicator on the upside, as is the RSI 50 rebound. So looking for 11 pence by the end of next month, while we're above the 50-day line there at 7.75 pence. On to the last two, and despite having an extra £13 million in the kitty from its share of Guardian Metal shares, a sale of Guardian Metal shares rather. Shares of Power Metal only up 10%. We're looking really for the shares to hit the top of that falling trend channel. It's 18 pence in coming days, even though we've so far had a rather understated reaction to the news of the share stale. Ideally, we stay on the right side of 15 pence now on an end of day close basis. I think enough is enough on that one. Finishing off with Shield Therapeutics, and you see that we've hit our target there, the red line, around 9.75 pence. The next level up is the upper parallel of that, which is 10.5 pence, and that's what we're looking for by the end of next month, while we remain above the September resistance there, just under 6 pence on an end of day close basis. That's it for me today. More updates tomorrow.